What's up guys? Adil here with the Investment Circle. And on this video, we're going to discuss the exact process that I go through when I'm picking a stock, an option, or something to trade. It can be a commodity, ETF. What process do I go through to determine if this is a trade that I should take or a trade I should just pass on? Let's hit that intro music. So, as it turns out, I'm having lots of issues with my camera. I keep on shooting things and it just disappears. And I'm super stressed because I spent about $3,000 on this camera setup, so yeah, kind of sucks. But anyway, I want to apologize for some of the audio issues that we had in the last video, and if they happen on this video as well, I'm super sorry about that. Number one, only invest in companies that you know and understand. Now, I know, you want to, know about all 505 companies in the S&P 500, but let's be honest with ourselves. It's too difficult, to know about so many different companies, right? And the more space that you take up in your brain, the less you're going to be able to effectively trade the securities that you are trading. So what I like to do is I like to stay on top of the game with about, 10 different stocks that I, stay in my core wheelhouse. And those are the stocks that I generally am going to be trading in. If there's anything that's really crazy that's taking place on trade ideas, sometimes I might scalp a few stocks based on whatever the scanners are seeing. But generally speaking, when I'm trading my options, I stick to the companies that I know. I love trading in Roku, Tesla, Netflix, Facebook, Google, the FANG stocks, for example, because I know those stocks, inside and out, and I know when they're gonna have new offerings, like Shopify just listed more shares, caused the price to tank, and I knew the price would tank, so I took a short position on Shopify. But I like to be invested in companies that I truly understand. And so I believe it was Peter Lynch that said, only invest in the companies that you know. So that's my first tip. Number two. All right, so now you know which stock you want to trade. You're gonna want to check which sector is this stock in. Okay, I like to use the spider sectors, right? Because it's super simple, right? They have it divided up into whatever categories they think that a stock applies to, right? And basically, if you see that a sector is performing very well, but a stock is performing very poorly, right? That is called a bearish divergence, right? So that is not a good thing. We're not gonna wanna trade in any companies where the sector is doing great and our company is doing poorly. But it can also be that the sector is doing bad, yet our stock is outperforming the sector, right? And that is something that is called a bullish divergence, and that is something that I would invest in, right? So if the best possible scenario can be the sector is doing well, and this equity that we're trading, the security that we're trading, is doing even better than the sector, right? It's pulling the sector further upwards. And those are the companies that I love investing in. For consumer discretionary, for example, right? You can see here recently, Dollar General has been pulling its sector up. And that just means that, Dollar General is crushing it. And I expect Dollar General to do even better in the times of a recession. So our last call that we had on our trade of the day on Instagram was actually a Dollar General call. It was November 29th at the 162 strike price. We made the call at a 90-cent entry, and we exited the position at about a 42% gain for the day. And for me, that's a fantastic trade. That's you make $100 in a day is great profit. This account that we're doing this with is going to be a small account because I want to start with only $350 and see, can we build that up to a $1 million account even, down the road. And I think you can, right? Because everyone always makes the excuse that I don't have enough money to trade, right? I hear that from my friends, my family, everyone's telling me they don't have the money to trade. But sorry for going off on a tangent. I wanted to prove that anyone can do this, right? It just takes time, effort, and consistent power of will. And I think all of us can have that. Anyway, that's sector analysis. You can read a little bit more into sector analysis on the link that's provided below. Number three. All right, so this should come as no surprise, but if the market is tanking, generally speaking, your stock is gonna be tanking as well. So really quickly, if you want to just take a look at SPX or the SPY, which is an ETF made by the S&P 500 companies for the tracking of the S&P 500, right? If we see that the market is doing well, but our stock is outperforming the market, again, that is a very good sign. That means that, that our stock is doing better than the average of the 500 different companies that are in the S&P 500. And so if that's happening, right, that's definitely another risk point that I want to add to my trades, right? Basically, the way that I do this is I'm going to complete a later video that's about this, but it's going to have to be a lot longer in duration because there are 15 different parameters that I use to determine if a trade is going to have the maximum level of risk, right? And I learned this from a gentleman by the name of Van Tharp. He has a few books out that he discusses how he's going to, how he gets his traders to increase the size of their trades, right? When you're first starting out, you want to make a boatload of money right off the bat, right? And it's really difficult to, not get in your own way. What I used to do is I used to, trade in too large of a size. And by creating a system where I'm, systematically deciding, am I going to increase the value of this trade or am I going to keep it smaller in terms of my position size? You're able to achieve a lot more in your trading life cycle. Number 4, by now, you should have a great idea of how your stock is performing relative to its sector, relative to the S&P 500, and you should have a great idea of a lot of the fundamentals about your own stock, right? How has its earnings per share been over the last few quarters? Next, what you're gonna wanna do is check the relative volume for your stock. And I do this using multiple time frames, right? I wanna see, is there a lot more interest in this stock today than there was maybe last week? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open up my charts and I'm gonna look at the daily charts and I'm also gonna look at the weekly charts, right? And I wanna see, is there any fluctuation in relative volume, right? Are people getting more and more excited about this company as opposed to how they were feeling, many weeks in the past? And what that does is it just tells us, in what direction is the market leaning? Is it leaning towards this company or is money flowing outside of the company? Is it leading the company? And generally that also lets us know where's the smart money going, right? Because they call it the smart money because it's basically insiders, like where are the insiders putting their money? The people that work on Wall Street for the big banks. Because generally speaking, you want to follow their trades. You want to trade very similar to them. Unless you have some information that, people that spend, hundreds of millions of dollars on their research have that they don't. Generally speaking, you want to follow them. Number 5. All right, so this is where we start back testing, okay? For options, I like to use a software by the name of CML Viz. They have a machine that's called Trade Machine, and it lets you know how has this stock performed when it was in a call and we're never trading earnings, for example. And you can just change the parameters for your back test and decide, does this make sense? Is this making money over the long term? What I like to see is I want to see a success rate above 75% for any trades that I'm taking, right? And generally what I do is I set up alerts, right? And these alerts will come to my cell phone. They'll let me know, hey, let's make the trade. The Dollar General trade, it was based off an alert that I had sent to my cell phone. The NVIDIA trade that we posted on Discord last week, it was also to an alert from an alert to my cell phone. So I just set it up and I set it and forget it. Then after I know in the back test that this was successful historically, I then go check through these other parameters, and based on these parameters, I increase my risk and have a higher risk tolerance than I would normally. So also with backtesting, there's another thing you can do, and this is backtesting actual securities, right? And it's a little bit more advanced, right? It's for algorithmic traders, generally speaking. You want to set up systems to see how has the stock performed historically, when certain criteria were met. I know I love using TrendSpider for this because it allows a complete and utter noob to start, backtesting. And it makes it so that you don't really need to know that much about coding, yet you can still see, when the RSI was below, let's say 68, this is how the stock was performing, right? And you can change the parameters, set up everything you like. I'm gonna go through and show you guys a little bit of that right now. So you see, basically when you change any of these settings down here, right? and we set them up on TrendSpider, which I believe we can get you guys a super killer discount too. It's the best discount on the net. We're giving an extra 20% off on top of their already discounted yearly price. And if you want to do month to month as well, we also give the best discount again on the market, because I'm actually giving my own money from the affiliates clicking to you guys, because I really don't need that much revenue from affiliate marketing. That's not why we make this channel. The reason for this channel is to help other people. So if we can help you by giving you guys a percentage of our affiliates payments, you know what? All for it. I do that for trade ideas as well. It's like we gotta work together. We're trying to build this community and help people invest their money properly into business, real estate, and stocks. So anyway, I want to thank you guys. We're not here in front of the green screen, and by the way, this is not the computer that I actually trade on. The computer that I trade on is sitting right over there. It's 2 larger screens, but this computer behind me, we use this more for like for myself and my brother to be sitting in the same room at the same time while we're working on one of our companies. But anyway, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. If you guys could please like and subscribe. Our subscribers have been going up a lot recently, which I'm super stoked about. That's fantastic. We've been posting a lot on Discord, so if you guys have any questions that you'd like answered, you can definitely send them over to Discord on Plan the Trade. Or what you can also do is follow us on Instagram at The Investment Circle, or our Facebook is facebook.com/The Investment Circle blog. And you can post whatever you like. I'll always try to get to your questions. If you want to see a specific video, we can make those as well. Next week I'm going to be making a video that was requested actually, how to purchase cryptocurrency. It's actually not as complicated as you think. We're going to go through the different avenues that you can take to buy cryptocurrency, and also maybe using a paper wallet to secure that cryptocurrency. Anyway guys, this is just a basic rundown of the ways that I go through and pick the stocks that I'm going to trade, or the options I'm going to trade. I'm hoping that it was of some use to you, and you guys can smash that subscribe button, hit that like button, and we can keep this going. Entrepreneurship together.